nice evening in Paris now for a change. It's been very hot here, so I got my windows open, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's feeling really good. Really happy to settle in after the big move. How about you?
Yeah. Are you still living out of boxes or have you started unpacking or
No, actually, yeah, I was very keen on getting everything out of those boxes out. And although it's like a bit of a mess, I still have to organize everything. And we've been like trying to split that baby time and, getting accustomed with the neighborhood and everything. But it's going well. So everything's out of boxes. I think I have one box with books actually left. So yeah, I have to see where I'm gonna put those. But else, yeah, everything's where it should be in its place. Finally.
nice. That's
Yeah.
that's a pretty that's pretty fast.
Yeah, it was, and we didn't even. I mean, next time I think I'm gonna hire movers because this
Mm.
time we just hired the Romanian guy with a van to like ship everything, and yeah, my back kind of hurts. We got some help from my wife's parents as well, but yeah, it's been kind of a marathon, but it's well. I mean, I think I lost a bit of weight even, but I don't mind.
Were there any weird border related things? I know I have some friends who moved with like a cat and like that ended up being 10 times more difficult than any other logistics involved in the move.
Yeah, the cat was literally like the hardest thing ever. Not even like the baby, my son. That was like very easy, but the cat we had like a dossier like this thick with paperwork because of the British are usually panicked about rabies, and yeah, that's why I had to come separately by train, and my wife with my son and my cat had to travel by plane because that's the only way you could do it.
Mm,
But
okay.
we've been preparing for like 2 months in advance, so luckily that meant no problems at the border, although lots of worries.
And yeah, well, it sounds like you've made it through the hardest parts, and now it's just the fun parts of exploring a new city.
Yeah, exactly, it's beginning to be pretty fun. Yeah, how about you?
um, I think it's been a pretty quiet couple of or last week, aside from some hardcover stuff we'll get into. Um, saw Deadpool and Wolverine with my wife, and we went to a concert and saw Jewel and Melissa Etheridge, which was fun. So,
Okay,
kind of
nice.
enjoying the summer.
Yeah, you gotta. How's with the weather in Salt Lake City? Is it decent?
It's been like 105 in the days,
Ooh.
so that's like 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, I'll stop complaining about the weather then,
so,
since you have
but
it like
but
way
it's
worse stuff.
it's like desert heat, so you're not like sweating because it's so dry. It's kind of like Las Vegas.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's nice in the mornings and the evenings. But during the day, you just don't want to be outside.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at least it's not humid. I mean, humid with heat doesn't go well. I mean, yeah. Nice. Well,
yeah.
yeah, it's been exciting. The past we also had two guests on Hardcover Live. Just as uh, I was going through this, you were busy working on the reading journal, so it's been like quite eventful on this front as well. But I think we handled it pretty well.
Yeah. I was working on the a hardcover report email that'll go out tomorrow, and it was like highlighting all the things from last month. And I was like, wow, we did a lot in the last month.
Yeah, we actually did a lot, all things considered, and it's been good, to have those guest features with Dan and Haley. Actually, like lots of insights that came out of those, including something we'll be talking about today that you've been like shipping through like some kind of magic, and it's like live on hardcover now. And yeah, that's been like very exciting to see.
yeah. I So far, the reading journal and edition update, progress tracking, all that's been it's been working out pretty well. There's been like a couple of edge cases and areas of improvement, but overall, I've been pretty happy with it. I
That's
think
good. Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing it highlighted is how like previously for tracking progress, we didn't require to know the exact edition that you were tracking, but you were able to set the reading format. So you were able to say, "Oh, I'm reading an audiobook," and we didn't care like the edition of the audiobook. But with the new setup, you have to actually link it to the specific edition. So it's like an extra step, but that's kind of highlighted some gaps in our like editions in our database. So hopefully, um, we've made it easy for people to add those missing editions, and then it'll resolve itself in time. But I have a feeling right now we're going through a little bit of that extra friction when people are adding those. So we'll see how that goes and if we need to change anything from it. But I think it's in the right
Mm-hmm.
direction.
Yeah, definitely. I saw some people on Discord were mentioning, they're encountering some bumps because it's a different system than what we had before. But the good part is that now you're also if you're setting your edition to the one you are reading, it will be an edition that could appear in the system for any future reader on hardcover. So it's a bit of like a charity work you're doing for future hardcover readers because you're setting the edition and also you're helping yourself because you're keeping your reading accurate. But yeah, I think people are gonna like once they get in the new system, it will pay off because those editions are published in the system right now, and that book data becomes usable to others, which is part of our goal of creating an open book network. So uh, when you're setting something and currently reading, you're participating in that mission. So yeah, I guess props to you for taking that extra time to complete that step.
um, I'm happy with how it turned out. I think some of those like planning sessions we did on how that would work with like the edition selector, those paid off because like we had to like we also like redid the way that those drawers work. So like when you have a drop down on hardcover, it'll if you're looking at it in a web browser, it looks like just a drop down. But if you are on a mobile device, it comes up from a drawer at the bottom. So like moving things into those reusable components where we can just like code it in one way and it works at like a drawer on mobile and like a drop down on desktop. That's also made a lot of things really easy. So like in the reading journal part, for instance, when you're editing a reading journal or you're um, choosing those bulk actions like make all journal entries private, both of those use that same component as well as the book button itself. So it's like creating these reusable components like the edition selector are things that we're now able to reuse anywhere you need to select an edition across hardcover. So we're gradually creating that library of those components and then using them just becomes that much easier.
Yeah, it's still like crazy to me how we managed to ship things. Usually this is the kind of, I mean, this is might be one of the most complex parts of a book network. I mean, selecting the actual edition, although it might not seem that that tough considering what happens on, and especially in the background, it's very, very, very complicated. And I think is the reason why many people who set out to create a book network end up getting stuck because this is one of the parts that to me has like so much complexity. And yeah, we somehow managed to ship that, and now we're iterating on the things that the small quirks, but yeah, it's there. And it's crazy how we we could actually do that. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems. I mean, usually the projects I've worked on, this is the thing that teams of 10 plus or maybe even tens of devs usually work on. But yeah, You seem to have like really powered through all of these features and the reading journal, and because that's like a huge thing as well. And now, moving into stats, which is another like very very complex thing that with proper planning hopefully will ship just as fast as we did these really complicated features.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of focus on bugs and maintenance stuff this month while we're kind of planning out the design and final product of stats. That's something that we always did at my last job, where we kind of had like three different phases, and projects were always in one of the three phases, where it was either like research, design, or development. And now what's in development this month is going to be maintenance and bugs. What's in design is going to be stats, and what's in research is going to be like new user, like retention, like, you know, understanding why people that joined hardcover might have left, and then that'll just give us new information to do things on later.
Yeah, yeah. It's good that we've structured them like that, and I'm excited about the design part as well, but also the research part. It's gonna bring up, I think, some interesting insights about how people use hardcover. Plus, now we also gotta market these features. So I think we have yet to explain to our readers on hardcover like the full extent. I mean, I'm sure people like already like explored a lot that's been published, but I feel like we should have like another push where we explain how to actually use the reading journal, how to actually
Mm,
to improve discoverability. I mean, some people might not even know that right now on hardcover you can track your exact edition of a book, and you can also add notes and quotes while you're reading it, and it's a pretty like powerful way to add those notes and quotes, and this is building up later on for discussions, but it's gonna be like really really cool to see that play out and to have people add notes while they're reading instead of just a review at the end of the book. So you'll have like a whole journal of each book that you've read. I can't wait to start adding quotes because that's one of my one of the things that I missed in all the other places. I mean, the only system that worked for me is highlighting it on the actual book, which is not like
mm,
really ideal. And
yeah,
some readers might even hate that. But
yeah. And
yeah,
once we get a whole bunch of notes and quotes in the system, we'll be able to do really cool things with those notes and quotes. But any building of that now would be a kind of a premature, because there's not anything to show there. But things like I have a feeling using some of the things we made for discussions, like that
mm,
chart for like where in the book people are creating their discussions, we can have something like that for quotes and notes.
oh yeah,
We can let people like basically set the filter to where they are in the book, and then they'll only see notes from like up to where they are in the book, and then they won't see quotes and things after that. And
yeah,
yeah, there's just a lot of really exciting things that I think depend on us doing the quotes part right and the notes part right. But I think we're on the right track.
yeah, yeah. We're getting there. It feels like it feels within reach now, and I'm also like very excited about what this means to authors because imagine like you're writing a book and you publish that book and you see like the graph where the notes and quotes go like really up at the point of the book on hardcover, and you might be surprised, you might not, but you might be surprised because there's a scene in the book or there's like a part that people really love, and you'd be able to as an author see that whole like neat graph of where people like interacted the most with your reading, and that's gonna be like really really good insight
Yeah,
just by studying stuff that's public. You don't even, I mean, this is not even like it's accessible to everyone.
yeah.
uh,
it kind of reminds me of how on like either on Kindle or on something like Medium, when you're seeing like a highlight and it says
Mm,
like, like
and text.
123 other people highlighted this paragraph. So it's how do we make books kind of more like that, but without creating an entire e-reader.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think it's the actual like meta part of that, just like not seeing it as you're reading it. Some networks, I will not name which, but they do that, and I think that's a little bit annoying. Just reading stuff and seeing, oh, some people reacted to this paragraph in the book. I think a lot of people, knowing our readers on hardcover, would not like that, not like that social interaction while they're reading, but after like that meta part, when they're adding a note and they're like seeing because it's something separate that you do from reading, I'm presuming, that's gonna be like really really cool to see and interact with. That whole like uh, series of interactions, it feels better than just like
Hmm.
having that. Yeah, great. So
Well,
that said, should we jump on to actually designing some stats?
yeah. So
Here we
I think
go.
that's our focus for today, right? So
Yes. So I was hoping we could basically go through the stats where we left off last time, and maybe we can even look at the things you've done with reader similarity, and maybe even discuss a bit about that if we have time. If not, just like the overall stats. But there are some stuff in there that we might take and put it in the overall stats. So let me share my Figma real
yeah, sounds
quick,
good.
and we can jump right on it. Here we go. So just to give everyone a bit of a recap, this is where we were last time, where we were working on stats, a way to select the time period for stats. So between which time periods, between which dates you are seeing those stats, and how do we make it easy to select the most common use cases like a month or a year, or if you want something custom, so bridging that gap between these two cases, and then just having like these really neat components that updates really dynamically, and where you have like as much of an incentive to share them or to publish them somewhere as possible. So we've got the books read, sort of. I'm gonna name these widgets. Maybe that's not the best name, but I don't know. Do you have a better one?
Yeah, because this is like the covers that would be shown here would be like your 5-star reads, right? Or your highest rated reads in that period.
Yeah. Well, if it's a year, it could be like the highest rated. If it's like a month, maybe you've just read three books. So even though you rated one, maybe we can even show the ratings if like it's like less than a number of books. So if it's like a yearly stat, you get all the covers. If it's a monthly stat and you only get like three books, let's say, uh, I'm curious, like, what's the average number of books a hardcover reader reads per month? But I don't know, I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
three. Uh, let's say three. So you read these three books. Uh, Maybe you get these, and oh, wait, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Just move stuff around. So well, I could have just done that from the get go. So you just have three books. I'm just going to do this. You have these three books, and maybe they're smaller, and maybe you have the rating. Let me fetch the rating real quick from where. Sorry, everybody, I'm moving a bit. So the rating from here, and I'm putting it over here. So this is a 5-star read. This is a 5-star read, and maybe this is a 2.5-star read. So maybe if it's a monthly stat, we decide whether to show only the covers or the covers and the ratings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we can come back to that since we might end up having another widget that shows like top rated or things like that. but
Yeah,
but we can
true.
we can pencil that in as an option.
Yeah, true, true, true. This is like a good theme because where we show covers, depending on the period, sometimes you're gonna have like a lot of covers, and sometimes you might even just have like one cover. So
Yeah.
I guess we'd have to differentiate between. Maybe we'll make like 3 levels of widgets, or like, yeah, different. Maybe if it's just one cover, let's say you've read like uh, its highest rated book, we make the cover real big and offer more info.
Yeah, we could definitely like change the size of it pretty easily and then kind of just make it fill all available space depending on what you're reading or how many you've
Yeah.
read.
Mm-hmm. I guess first we could try to like iron out what components to show here, and then we can like decide, go into details on each component, because some of these are gonna appear on your dashboard as well. So I'm thinking if they're on your dashboard, they're gonna be like even smaller or larger. So it makes sense to have like different views, like we did with lists. You know.
Hmm.
Cool. So for stats, actually, that's we could take a step back. Do you think it's a good place regarding the way you choose the period that the stats are shown?
Oh yeah, so I think the idea was like when you hit this page, um, like there's this underlined thing that would say like all time, for instance, the first time you load it, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or Adam's life in books. And life would be this underlined editable field. And if you click on it, it would be editable. Or are we saying it would be like only editable from this part?
No, it would actually be editable from both sides, just to make it like easy. So you could edit if it have this, or let's say, yeah, Adam's life in books, and you'd click on life, you'd get basically this, not drop down. What was this actually? That's a good. It was yeah, it was a drop down or a
Yeah.
popover that let you select the period, and it would show all your available years for which you have book data. And then if you click each year, you'd be able to select a month. Or we also did like this, where you would just,
Oh yeah.
no,
Or
I
like
think that was like the last one, right?
yeah. Because ideally for what we need to select is or what we always need to do is have a yeah duration like a start date and an end date, and sometimes we can abbreviate that by just having them select a year or a month, and then we're able to set both the start and the end date based on that month.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
one of the questions is, do we want to have it down to the day, or do we only want to have it for like month spans?
Well, I think it should let you choose the actual day. So the way I was thinking to do it here is if you select a year and just like close it, you'd get that year. If you select a month, basically if you'd be here and select February, you'd get like this calendar where it would say February, and if you'd close it, it would be February. But I'm not sure that's like the best option.
I
What do
think
you think? Yeah.
I think we could get away with not having it be down to the day. I think we could make it just months. Like the more I've been thinking about this, I'm thinking like how often would I ever want to say like between January 15th and February 15th? And the only time I think I'd want to do that is if the date were February 15th and I was looking at like in the past month.
Mm,
So it's almost like one option could be like uh, um, just setting these dates as months, but then maybe have an option also for like um, past 90 days, past month, past year. And that's like,
mm.
that's independent of a start and end date. That's just like setting the start end date based on today's date.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd be more of a fan of like some really cool defaults to show these instead of, yeah, basically uh, having it down to the day, because it will get confusing. I think the most common cases would be like yearly and monthly. So you'd want to see your June, July, April reading, and you'd want to see your 2024 reading, or your like life in books. I think that would be like the actual ranking. Maybe it's different, but it's just a hunch. So yeah, I'd be down for that. So I think we have this component. Do you think that maybe we can get away with doing this past month, past 60 days, past 90 days?
Yeah, like I think something like that could work. So that would be selecting. So that would allow you to see the stats for like assuming this was the entirety of the component, you would be
Yeah.
able to see stats for either an entire year, an entire month, a single month, or a relative time frame from today.
Yes,
I think,
exactly.
yeah, I think so. The I guess the downside of that is you wouldn't be able to say like I want to see stats from March to August. You would only be able to see like March stats for March. But I think that's okay. I feel like what you normally want to do is see stats for uh, just a date. Maria in our chat is saying we need to have a date picker in there.
We aren't gonna get away without the date picker.
I feel like that's what we're trying to solve. We're like, is there a way to do this
Oh,
without a
here's the
date
chat.
picker?
Here we go. Yeah. Yeah.
To be determined, but yeah. Hmm. I guess
We did have like could do, I mean,
like specific date, yeah.
custom date.
Because
Like,
at that point, like maybe what we do is we get rid of the calendar component because I don't think the calendar component is going to be as useful for this because like if you're spanning a single month, the calendar component's pretty useful. So
yeah.
that's for like dates read. But if you're saying like yeah like one date to 3 months from now, using a calendar component to select that start and end date gets confusing fast.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like much more of a fan of doing this. Plus, it sets, I guess, the way we want people to like see these. I think monthly, is very useful. But also, yeah, I guess if you were reading something, and let's say you want to see the number of pages per day you've read between uh, 12th of March and 31st of April, maybe that would be like a good use case for a custom date. So maybe we should have it there. So uh, you're basically thinking to have this, and for the custom dates to maybe have something like this, and for these to open up a calendar component, or just have like our calendar component open up if you select custom date. Which
Yeah. Yeah, kind of what I was imagining is like maybe we always show it like this with the start and an end date. And then if you click on the start date and then you were to select, let me copy this. So if you were here oh, and you selected this first one, it would by default show this. Um, and oh wait, maybe let's see. So yeah, so let's figure this out. So if you selected this, um, you're trying to set the start date for a range. Um, feels like there's two things you might want to do in that case. One is I want to set a start date and an end date. One is I just want to set the start date, and Hardcover should set the end date for me. So what if um, this drop down, when you click on this, would show, actually, I guess it's closer to this actually. Um, it would show something like that. And maybe the bottom option here is like um, the custom date. So if you selected 2024, like let's say you clicked on this, you click on 2024, what it would do would at that moment it would set the start and the end time to be January 1st to December 31st, 2024.
mm-hmm,
But uh, it would also bring you into
this.
this, and it would have all of these ones selected, like January, February, March, April, December. All of them would be like the purple selected color. And if you clicked on one of those, it would, like if you clicked on August, it would unselect like the months after August. So that way it was like January to August selected.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, like, from a UX point of view, that this is a good option. But
It's hard.
yeah, I'm wondering, like, if at this point, so if you want to select a month, uh, aren't we making it like, if you want to select a month, we should make it like really easy to do that. So if you click on 2022 and you want to select. I think it might be confusing if they're all selected. I think that's my feeling. Let's just like make them so there. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I didn't select these. Oh crap. Okay. Because I think it's hard to tell
Mm,
which. So if I was here
yeah.
and I would click on August, I would feel like it should only deselect August, and if it would like not uh, if it would like deselect all of these, so it
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so maybe we
Mm,
should just like, if we just have March, so when you go here, maybe there's nothing selected and this date changes. So this is like January 1st 2022 to December 31st 2022. And Could we make this like drag and select kind of thing? That would be neat, but also like uh, maybe it would work. So kind of like a multi-select. So if you select like January to September, you could do that. But if you only tap one of them, you only get that month. So if you tap March, it's gonna change to March 01 to March 31st. Would that make sense?
So that would mean like you clicked on this first one, you selected 2022, this came up, and then you clicked on March.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for that.
Yeah, the time picker is like more complicated than I was first thinking.
I,
Maybe
I
we could
guess
like yeah,
I one simplified way. So like,
yeah.
if we were to like remove all of this, and one other way of doing this is we so I'm just gonna move all these and brainstorm
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
the simplest MVP of this is you click on this, it pulls up a date picker, and in the bottom of the date picker we have buttons for past
Oh yeah.
year, all time, and that. And this date picker isn't going to be a range date picker. It's just going to be a start
Mm-hmm.
date picker. And when you click on this end date, that's the end date picker. So you're not trying to set a date range in one calendar widget.
Yeah, it's just okay. Yeah, this is great. Maybe we could even
And
have like yeah.
like a drop down for year where it's like, well, hmm,
Yeah, the year is a bit of I mean that's I think how I ended up with this like
yeah.
really complicated thing. Uh because if you want to select a certain year, you kind of like bump into that. But let's just, I mean, we could just like leave it like that. So it should be like past month and what else was supposed to be in here? Past month and past year, maybe, or last year. Because past year, if it's March, yeah, you're gonna.
Because by default, when you load the page, it's going to be all time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you click all time, or when it loads with all time, um, I think we are going to have to like default this to like null to null, and null to null will mean like
Yeah,
beginning
set
of time
date.
to now.
Yeah. I think that would work. I mean, I think the best like way to explain it is, when you're like selecting an airline ticket and you're either like you want it, they give you the option to choose like the whole month. We should add like the whole year on top of that and all time. But basically, it's like you go on Skyscanner and you either choose tickets on the 31st of July or plus minus some dates, or you can select whole month and it shows you like ticket ranges. So I guess we could have like a choose month over here where you could like choose the month, and it would basically be like these buttons where we set the dates, because else I'm thinking it would be hard to set the dates.
this is uh, this is how they do it in Stripe when you're
Oh, here we
exporting,
go.
which I
Yeah.
was just kind of
Yeah.
curious.
Uh-huh.
But we wouldn't need a today one, of course. But and our default would be all.
Yeah, this is pretty good. So current month, less 7 days, less month,
but
all.
this but what's interesting is that this comes from like you click a button called export and it brings up this modal to set it. So they're not trying to do it in a drop down. They're like, let's just make the entire thing a modal.
Oh yeah, well, let's make the entire thing a model then. I mean, I'd be like totally down for that. I think we're using like a model slash drawer uh, on the app. So that's like a pattern that we've gotten readers used to. So yeah, we might as well do that.
I think it's like a, yeah, should it be a modal drawer or a drop down drawer? But yeah, I guess it depends on.
Well, it should take over the entire screen because like you want to focus on setting the date and then you want to see the stats. So you don't want to like fiddle with it too much. You just want to like set it and then analyze the stats for that entire time period, share stuff, that kind of thing. So I'm guessing like however we do it, I think like having a button that brings up something on the screen is a good way to do it. So this would basically be so it could be like this, and we could also have like the map icon. So you can this would be like a menu to display all the stats, and this can be like either modal or like drawer that comes up from the bottom. And basically what can happen is, whoop, you have like an overlay that's kind of like this, and then you have like the calendar. Whoop, what did I do? where are the where are the other things? Oh god damn it. Okay, so yeah, well, all with nice little background, of course, not like that, but yeah,
Mhm.
with the calendar. And it could basically be these options. So it could be like, oh crap, shit. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to nail this model. But what do you think about like the actual like idea of a model? Would that be?
I think I think it could be a drawer in mobile and then a modal in desktop, maybe.
Yeah, of course, yeah, just like we do with the reading journal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. So current month, and maybe we put, I like this, July 1, July 31. Is that a good format for the date? I think it's US, right?
Yeah, I think like I can I can understand that as a American.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I can understand as a European, so
It's better than
let's do.
771 or yeah,
Yeah,
using
exactly.
using numbers.
24 last week. Ah, last week maybe. Last month. No, last week. Current month. Okay. Let's say it's July. Uh, wait, my brain isn't functioning with dates. hmm Last year, or we could have like peak year. Hmm. And this could be like just a custom.
Yeah, I guess one of the difficulties of their date picker is that they don't make it easy to select a year. Like if I wanted to select last year, like a
Wait.
2023 beginning of the year to the end, I'd have to open the calendar widget, select the first, go to the end date, click forward 12 times, and then select the end of 2023. So yeah, they don't make it easy to give a date range, a
Yeah,
year
maybe
date
we could
range.
make like a nice like tab navigation like we have on the library, and we could just like, you know, you could have like this kind of thing. Let me put this in a nice little frame and style it like this. Sorry, I want the trackpad again because my mouse is not working again. So, what happened to all the? Okay, so this would be like boom, boom, and this would be like, okay.
I think one difficulty with that is that some people might have so many years. Like I know I have tracking back to 93.
Oh, wow.
So there's gonna be a lot of options for those years.
Well, on the like, I mean, in which cases are you gonna check like your reading from 1995? It's not gonna be like a lot of times. Probably like it's gonna be like the past years or
Yeah,
so.
yeah. The
So
most
I'm
common would
guessing.
be the last couple years for sure.
So if this was a thing that moved like left and right, even if you like wanted to check 95, you'd just like scroll a little. I don't know if that would be like annoying or not, but I think it could like,
Or there's like a one of these is like what so what if for like month and year it's like a select drop down and um like there are options for like 2024, 2023,
oh
2022,
yeah, of
and
course,
then
yeah.
for like maybe for like one of them could be by month, and then by month it could be like current month and then like the previous months. That way
Yeah.
like these two could kind of be combined into one option too.
So kind of like that.
Or I was thinking almost like as separate ones, like if this were down here and then this was like um by year. Ooh,
Yeah, maybe Prestify and group everything though. Sorry. Oh, shit. Yeah, sometimes I hate all the layout. Yes.
likewise this one could be like this is the default
Mm,
and
okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
like by month.
I think that work. Gosh, this is like way more complicated than.
I know it's like we could just create two date pickers and be done with it, but we want to make it easy for people to select date ranges.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most people will like use this to like be very, yeah. It's hard to select like the past year, so you'd have to jump to January 1st, and then it could work. But yeah, let's maybe.
Yeah, and I think this would allow us to kind of get rid of these three options, and then
And then it's just a custom. Yeah, okay.
yeah, because I mean this is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is good for now. So when you
Yeah,
tap like, it should show like from to, right?
yeah. I think. Well, what if? Yeah, I think in this case, um, okay. So I'm thinking like when you see the from to, if you've selected one of these options, maybe it should say that, and it should only give you one field. So it should say like all time, and it not give you a start date and an end date. Or same with
Yeah,
by year, it should just say for like
yeah,
yeah,
kind of
like
like
we
we
had it
had it.
before.
Yeah.
I feel like we're working our way back to where we were like 3 weeks ago,
Wow.
which is a good sign. It
Yeah,
means
exactly.
the same solutions are coming up multiple times.
Yeah, it's like that every time we design something. I remember discussions we did this a lot, and I think for every feature, actually.
Yeah. So if you did select custom and you did select a start and an end date, then you would see this,
Yes,
and then you would be able to kind of quickly change those dates. But if you selected a month or a year or all time, you would see kind of
yes.
like this generic representation of that date range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe like custom, um, like if it's selected and it's highlighted, then yeah, we show like the date range after it, like kind of like Stripe.
Yeah. Well, this sounds good. I think it's this is in a good place.
Yeah,
Basically, it was all about selecting dates
I
for
feel like
for
I feel like we simplified it.
yeah. Well, this is gonna be like really important because right now it's not like the most ideal like navigation, and I feel like if we nail this, it's gonna make sharing the stats and viewing the stats a lot easier.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I think this is good. And for like the actual stats, I wanted to, I mean, basically, like, this is the stuff that we have right now. I'm assuming like this we'd keep and maybe add, style it differently and add things that are not here. And we can show maybe a sneak peek of what we've been working on. Well, some of it you can see
yeah.
live, but this is what we were thinking could be like another iteration on the similarity stats. So basically, the similarity stats are a thing that Haley Hughes suggested like just last week. Adam implemented an MVP so you can actually like see your similar stats with any reader on hardcover if you go to, we can share the exact like way you do it, but basically what's the URL, Adam, for like
Um,
actually
it's in the labs drop down of the Discover. I think
oh
it's
yeah, here we go, yeah.
slash similarity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reading similarity. And basically here it's like similar stats which could be favorite books you have in common. So these are books that each of you rated 5 stars, books the first reader loves but the second reader doesn't, so 5 stars and 1 star, or this could be a range, like it could be between 1 and 2.5 stars and 4 and 5 stars for
Yeah.
someone loves, someone hates.
I think I implemented it as one person rates it as a 4.5 or above, and the other person rates it as 3 or below.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. Right on the intuition on that one. Then we could do stuff like favorite authors. Like if you read like multiple books from one author, we could maybe get the average rating or something like this. And yeah, list the authors, list the book by rating, so you can see which of you rates books higher or lower. This one is pretty interesting. So unique favorites, like books that someone rated highly that are not in your favorites
Mm-hmm.
and the other person hasn't read. So if you read the book and you rated it highly and the other person doesn't have it in their library at all, this could be like a good opportunity to say, okay, so I know we're very similar, so they read and rated this book really highly and I haven't like heard of it, so this could be a good one.
Yeah, good discovery mechanism.
Yeah.
And we could even sort that if we wanted to by their match percentage on
Oh,
the books that so like books Adam has rated highly but Mari hasn't. If Mari was viewing this page, we could sort these by books Adam rated 4.5 stars, sorted by match percentage for Mari.
wow. Okay. Yeah. That'd be very neat. We can just add the filter. I mean, yeah, somewhere over here. But yeah, this could be like the unique favorites. And I'm thinking, it could be interesting depending on your libraries. But if you're like really similar with someone, it could like pop, it could like show pretty interesting choices. Then this is a bit more like if you're tracking your reading, this is books read over time, and this is similar to what we have here, which is
Mm-hmm.
average pages read. So this would be like average books read. If you're tracking on hardcover, it could be monthly maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah, I put a selector here as well. So it could be monthly or yearly, I guess.
Yeah. It Yeah, we could probably have it adjust based on the time span that both users have been on the platform. If both of them have years of history, we could do it over years. If they don't both have years of history, then we could default it to monthly.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. Maybe we can even like have it monthly and that's it. Or yeah, I'm just gonna leave this here. Then someone, I think someone suggested series in common.
Mm-hmm.
So series that you both read, and maybe you could have like the so if, for instance, if you read both read the first two books, but only one of you read the last book, it would
Mm-hmm.
show here. And yeah, basically this would be like the series in common.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, Yeah, then the another very cool one that I think Beanie Abound suggested on Discord, if I'm saying that right, uh, is books that someone owns and that the other person wants to read. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have a book in your own drawer that someone else that the other reader wants to read, it could be like a really good opportunity to highlight those books and maybe ask them to borrow them, or like we'd have to find like a way to for them to connect, but it could be interesting anyway. So if there are two friends that track their huge libraries on hardcover and they aren't aware of the books that each other has, this could be a way of highlighting that uh,
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, if you
Yeah,
have that
it's a
book
good
on
idea.
your, yeah, basically see the ratings as well. And this is like a nice genre overlap. So
Mm-hmm.
uh yeah, how much, I'm not sure how this would be calculated, but I'm guessing like a 1 to 4, a 1 to 5 score on sci-fi, on like the main genres: horror, sci-fi, fantasy, adventure, young adult, and crime could be, or it could be depend on the actual most genres in common.
There's there's another way I was brainstorming visualizing this. Like while I was watching the Olympics, I was like trying to understand like how do we showcase similarity between two genres, and this is the visualization I came up with for it. Um, so the idea is, let's see, I have a circle here, and it would be like it would represent like one person's um, reading of a specific genre. So like this would be like the number of science fiction book. The size of this would be the number of science fiction books that Adam read,
Okay.
and the idea would be like uh, this is like the average rating. So like um, from
Okay.
a star to
Nice.
5 star, and so you're able to see like okay, Adam is like really into that genre, but then maybe like um, Mari's color for it would be smaller, and it would be like here.
Nice.
And maybe when you like highlight over one of them, it selects or it like highlights the other person's um, like related genre. So like when you hover over this, it would also highlight this one, so you would be able to see like where the other person's science fiction one is, and maybe like Mari has a really big one over here that represents like um, you know some other completely different genre, and then I have something over here that represents that. And the one thing I wasn't sure about was So like these wouldn't have any text until you hover over them.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I love this. I love that it like actually weighs them with the rating as well. Uh, and I'm guessing, the we could have a tooltip that would just appear, and I wouldn't mind like hovering over each of these like really nice bubbles, and yeah, I'm assuming they would get smaller and closing to zero, right?
Yeah. And I think in my initial idea of this, um, the Y position was going to be for correlation. So like, um,
Okay. Oh
so
wow.
this would like whenever there's something here, it would be something here. Whenever there's something there would be like a corresponding one here.
Okay, gotcha. So it would actually be
Or
something
or
like this.
maybe it wouldn't be below. Maybe it would be like on the side because the y-axis is determined by the so the y-axis would be determined by the difference between the ratings between the two people. So like the bigger the difference between like this and this, the bigger disagreement there is between these people's ratings. But
Okay, gotcha.
if they're both like here, that would mean they're both rating them very similar.
Okay, and the size of the bubble would actually mean like how much weight that genre has in their reading, right?
Yeah, like how many
On
books
that
they've read
period.
in that genre.
Yeah, this sounds great. It should also like have like a small, I guess, description for some of these. I think it's gonna be like important, but yeah, I love it. Let's just do it like this. Do you know how to actually like? I have no idea how to
Oh,
create something like that.
oh yeah, it's all just SVG.
Okay, okay, SVG it is okay. I'll go with your lead on that one. This is gonna be like great, and basically we can set the opacity of these to be well. Actually, when you hover over them, it can like set the opacity of the others to 50, so you
Mm-hmm.
can only see like basically these, and have like a tooltip that is basically positioned depending on this window, right?
Yeah, and maybe some like it adds like a border or something so
Oh
that it
yeah, yeah, border as well. Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking great. Well, I think uh, we actually made more progress on the reading similarity than on the actual stats, but this is good. I think people like really, really want this, and if we make this page like really neat and shareable, I think people are gonna try it with their friends. They're gonna try it with like people they follow. So you could like basically over here. I was thinking so the changing reader part isn't included, and you just see like the comparison here without having like that first part. Maybe it can be like either overlay or
mm,
a modal or drop that or a drawer that comes in from underneath, just like we did with like the stats previously with the date picker, and the way we did for the reading journal as well. And
yeah,
basically you'd have like compare readers. You could set the username, and it would bring out up a search box just as we do now, and when they're like found, you could see their profile picture appear here for confirmation, and then when you click calculate similarity, it would start generating these components.
yeah. And maybe like this little card right here, we could reuse that card on the profile page with a link to this similarity page.
Oh yeah,
That way, because
and this would
all
be,
that page is doing is filling it in with your data and the person who you're looking at the profile of,
yeah, and basically this would be like calculate similarity, Adam and
whoever's profile you're on.
year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, basically, Calculate similarity. Huh, I can actually bring up that. Yeah, great idea. Nice. Yeah. And I was working on it for desktop as well. These are like two ways we could show like that header. Uh, Maybe it's like different on desktop, so you could see like a neat, kind of like they do in like
Hmm.
sports, like one to the side, one to the other side, and just like maybe have like the big components we can show like you did currently on like full width, and then for the others we can like split them on two rows. I think that could look good, and it also
Yeah.
like is similar to the dashboard.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm liking this already.
Nice.
I have a feeling that this will actually be easier than the stats page.
Yeah.
Just because we're not worried about date ranges and things like that. It's just the overlap between two data sets, and yeah, that'll be an easier problem.
Yeah, maybe we can. I mean, this is like a really exciting feature, and shout out to Haley again for mentioning it because, yeah, it's given us a lot of like stuff to work on. I mean, evidently, you know. So I think let me stop sharing this. I think we're at time. So yeah, I think it's a really good. Should we do it like before, like the big stats page, while we figure out like the quirks of the.
Yeah, I bet we could do it before. Like what's out now took me an hour and a half, so I have a feeling doing the rest of it won't be too bad. I bet the hardest part will be some of the data visualizations, and
Yeah.
those don't even need to be in the V1. We could add those anytime.
Yeah, that
One of
sounds great. Yeah.
one of the things Haley mentioned when I sent it to her was it'd be great to have a breakdown of the stats that overlap versus the ones that don't. For example, 80% of the books in common were of this genre, or they were by queer authors, or they were books over a specific page count. So it's like it's a quicker high level understanding of not just the books in common, but the traits from those books that they shared.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
But
really interesting. Yeah, send those over to me. I'm gonna like, I mean, that's like we could just like drop that in design. I think it would work out of the box, I guess.
yeah, almost
Yeah,
like
that's very interesting. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Well, this has been a fun fun design session.
Yeah. Lots of ground covered, and yeah, for that I was just reading what Maria told us in the chat. Definitely, I will have a custom date range picture in there. This has been like, yeah, I think we're gonna. I'm gonna like, we're probably gonna iterate like async a bit more on it, and then start actually doing the actual stats, which might even be like the easier part, since most of them I guess would just have to revamp from the current ones, and there's like the back end work which you'd have to do to get them server rendered, right?
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm not too worried about that. That'll be the fun part. Well, I guess the hard part is the data visualization server rendering, but the stats part, the
Mm,
rest of it, not too much.
yeah, well, we'll nail that. I think we're like pretty from the looks of it. I think, yeah, once we nail down which stats uh we're actually gonna show, and if anyone watching has like any idea of a stat they'd want to see, just send it to us, drop it on Discord, drop it via email, because we're gonna basically try to make it if you want it. I'm sure it's a useful stat. So yeah, when we get to each one of those, I think this is a good month for doing that. We're probably gonna spend maybe even another session on this, but yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great.
Well,
Perfect. Awesome.
thanks, Stay, and yeah, I'll talk to you online. And see you all later.
Yeah, see you all later. See you all on Discord.
Bye.
Bye.